Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. I'm your host, Zomslays. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. This is episode 247 of the Music Mondays podcast. I hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you're chilling. Hope you're vibe-a-rooneying, man. I hope everything is good to go. But, man, we have quite the show here for you guys tonight. And we are well underway in October, which is fantastic. Um, like I said, I'm finally glad to be out of September, but now we're in like the true October trenches, right? So we're here, we're chilling, fall is upon us, but it's time to get into it, man. It's time to get into it. So you guys know the dealio. Um, Obviously we have some reactions and reviews, but before we get into that, we're gonna talk about some weekly recap jazz. We're gonna talk about what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. New month, so we're gonna do some community feedback, and then a couple of things that we gotta talk about here for sure. But per usual, let's talk weekly recap jazz and pretty much everything you missed over the course of the last week or so. So per usual, Music Money's basic logo t-shirts are available and in stock right now. We still have smalls, mediums, and larges. Only a few are left. So again, contact us, send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email if you're interested in purchasing one of those. $20 flat, including shipping. Obviously, no shipping outside of the United States unless you guys want to pay $1 billion, which obviously you don't. So try to keep it in the United States for sure. But per usual, man, that's that. Then of course, heading into Tuesday, we actually do drop the early access Patreon content every single Tuesday following the live show. So again, if you missed the live show and you couldn't catch it, or you don't want to watch the rebroadcast or anything like that, or you want to go clip it or download it or anything of that nature, that is available on the Music Mondays Patreon every single Tuesday. So definitely go check that out and go show the Music Mondays Patreon some love per usual. Let's see. Outside of that, heading into Wednesday, SoundCloud Sunday submissions open every single Wednesday per usual. So again, make sure you follow us on social media and stay up to date with all of our submissions, because again, those do go live every single Wednesday. And then we finish off Wednesday with some Music Mondays podcast audio promo, which drops every single Thursday. So again, make sure you follow us on social media and stay up to date with everything that we do have going on here at Music Mondays, my friends. So that was Wednesday. Actually, one more thing for Wednesday. We actually dropped a brand new exclusive by the homie Jin that is available right now on the Music Mondays SoundCloud. That is a fucking absolute banger. Huge shout out to Jin for letting us host that over there on the Music Mondays SoundCloud. We've actually been dropping quite the amount of exclusives, to be honest with you. So definitely go check out the Music Mondays SoundCloud and definitely go show that new single some love by the homie Jin. So that was Wednesday. Very, very stacked Wednesday. Heading into Thursday, of course, episode 246 of the Music Mondays podcast is available right now on all audio platforms. So again, that's Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good jazz. And if you're on an audio platform that we don't distribute the Music Mondays Patreon to, definitely let us know. And we'll be happy to get that over there for you. Let's see here. So episode 246, again, like I said, is available right now everywhere. So definitely go check that out and go show that some love. And huge shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned in to episode 246. You guys are fucking amazing. Then we ended off Thursday with a brand new YouTube upload. Music Mondays is looking for exclusives. So again, we are on the hunt for SoundCloud exclusives. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But again, that YouTube upload is available right now, where we discussed that live on the show last week. So if you missed that, definitely go check out that segment. So that was Thursday. Heading into Friday, a brand new article is live by the homie Ray Lowe. They interviewed an artist known as Aya. That is a W fucking interview, so definitely go check that out and go show Ray some love. That is available right now on the Music Mondays home page. Let's see here. So that was Friday. Heading into Saturday, episode 246 of the Music Mondays podcast is available on not only all audio platforms, but that still is available right now on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. That does get uploaded every single Saturday. So again, if you're interested in watching the show over there on YouTube, or you just want to throw it up on the background, that is available on YouTube every single Saturday. And again, huge shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned into episode 246, another banger episode. Then heading into Sunday, SoundCloud Sunday Volume 208 is available right now on the Music Mondays SoundCloud. That was curated by me, cover art done by me, and again, another banger one in the books. So huge shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned in to SoundCloud Sunday Volume 208. And again, those submissions do open every single Wednesday, so make sure you follow us on social media and stay up to date for all of our latest submissions and announcements and all that good stuff. Well, let's see here. So, that takes us into today, Monday. So that's pretty much your weekly recap, my friends. That's everything you missed at Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so, and over the last week or so, per usual. And of course, like I always say, make sure you follow us on social media to stay up to date with all of our major announcements, because things are going to be starting to heat up here at Music Mondays, that's for sure. But weekly recap stuff is done, so that's pretty much everything you need to know. Let's talk about what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. Exciting. So per usual, we're deep in the hunt for recruiting, actually. So we're looking for some new Music Monday staff members to add to the team before the end of the year. So we're going to start doubling down on that a lot more for sure. But again, we're pretty much planning our next album. That should have a few announcements coming over the course of the next couple of weeks or so. I'm still kind of dealing with a few things when it comes down to the staff team and how we're going to do the cover and submissions and things like that. Really, it's just about ironing out dates and making sure that everybody is available for that. So again, goal is to have that set by January, or no, not January, the end of the month. I almost said the end of the year, that's why. But goal is to have that set by the end of the month for sure. So new album, definitely. So that'll be very exciting. And then outside of that, like I said last week, a lot of our YouTube segments will be coming back, right? Feature Friday, which is our one-on-one video interview segment. Workshop Wednesday, which is our one-on-one segment where we sit down with producers and engineers and kind of go through their process when it comes down to cooking up. And then, of course, we do have the breakdown over there on YouTube where we kind of specifically interview an artist about an album or a project or a single or something like that. So a lot of those segments will be coming back when it comes down to the Music Mondays YouTube channel as well. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to gear up for the new year, get some graphic refreshes. We got to update the website a lot for sure. There's a few things that I got to go in and re-update. But yeah, pretty much planning for the end of the year and the new year. So again, you guys will be updated weekly here on the show every time I go live. So make sure you tune into the show or make sure you follow us on social media for any new updates. But that's pretty much everything major coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. A lot of the stuff is staying the same, but a lot of new stuff will be heating up. So again, like I always say, make sure you follow us and stay up to date. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're at on social media, we are also there. Let's see. So that's pretty much everything over the course of the next week or so. Like I said, I'll be updating you guys frequently throughout the month for sure. So, but what else do we got to talk about? Let's dive into some recruiting. So like I said just a few moments ago, Music Mondays is recruiting. We're looking to add at least like 2 or 3 more staff members before the end of the year. So if you're a writer, curator, journalist, designer, you want to do short form content, you want to do long form content or anything like that, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email. We'll be happy to have that conversation with you. Again, resume preferred, but definitely not required. If you're kind of new to the underground media space and independent media, we'll definitely be happy to kind of show you the ropes and let you know what content is like and things like that. So again, definitely let us know. And send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email. Per usual, outside of recruiting, Music Mondays is on the hunt for SoundCloud exclusives. So again, like we said last week, we are hunting for SoundCloud exclusives. Again, we're only interested in unreleased material, so feel free to do whatever you want with the track afterwards. So if you want to go put it on distro, you want to go do a music video, you want to go do anything like that, that's perfectly fine. But we are only interested in the SoundCloud version of your track. So again, if you'd like to have a SoundCloud track hosted and promoted for completely free on the Music Monday SoundCloud and, of course, across all of our social media, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email. We'll be happy to have that conversation with you. Same goes for YouTube as well. We are on the hunt for unreleased music videos, lyric videos, AMVs, or even if you just want some audio hosted on the Music Mondays YouTube channel, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email. And, of course, you'll be hosted and promoted on our YouTube channel of over 300 subscribers, and of course across all of our social media for completely free. So again, definitely let us know, send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email if you're interested in YouTube or SoundCloud exclusives. Like that. Excellent, my friends. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So it looks like only one more thing we got to go through here before we dive into some reactions and reviews. Just one more thing. So we did recruiting, we did exclusives, we did weekly recap stuff, we did what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. Let's talk community feedback, because again, we are in October, which means it's a new month. So, per usual, every month here on the Music Mondays podcast, we do have a roadmap of topics and subjects and things that we like to discuss here on the show. So there's definitely no shortage of talking points when it comes down to that, right? But again, we do community feedback every single month here on the show to give you guys a little bit more of a voice and let us know what you like to see, not only on the Music Mondays podcast, but what you like to see on Music Mondays in general, right? So if there's some topics that you'd like to see me talk about here on the show, or if you want us to bring somebody on and have them talk about a certain topic, if I can't, if you want to see us do some more tips and tricks, you want to see us do some underground exclusive content, and you want to see us react to old Music Mondays podcast episodes, you want to do anything like that, or even if you have another suggestion for Music Mondays in general, definitely let us know. Send us a comment, send us an DM, send us an email. Per usual, community feedback number 20, I believe like 29 or 30, something like that. We are deep in the community feedback bag, I will say that. But again, definitely send us a tweet, send us a message, send us a comment. Let us know what you'd like to see here on the Music Mondays podcast and the Music Mondays platform in general. This will be uploaded on the Music Mondays YouTube channel per usual. So again, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel. We do upload 2 times per week. Every single Thursday, every single Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. Excellent. Yep, new month, community feedback, my friends. New month. So, you guys know the dealio, man. I think we're good to go. We went through everything relatively quickly. Let's go pop over to Twitter, and let's go see what our submissions are looking like. Decent amount of submissions tonight, per usual. But you guys know the deal. Let's talk about it. So, per usual, submissions are always in the same format every single week, and they'll always read artists and creatives. Submissions are open for live reviews on Music Mondays, live on October 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/ZomPlays, which is here and now. Again, the only thing that changes during these submissions is the date. So again, make sure that you're submitting for a show that has not happened yet, because we do get submissions for shows that have happened, months ago, years ago, anything like that. So again, make sure you're submitting for a show that has not happened yet. And of course, contrary to our name, Music Mondays, we've reacted to pretty much everything here on the show. So if you like to submit your music, artwork, fashion, or digital creation, drop your links and portfolios below. All art forms are welcome. So like I said, we've reacted to pretty much everything here on Music Mondays, contrary to our name. Obviously, music, instrumentals, covers, acoustic versions of songs, music videos, YouTube uploads, photography, videography, unreleased music, merch, like I said, YouTube edits. We've pretty much done everything here on the show. So if you're an underground independent creative that you think deserves some spotlight here on Music Mondays, definitely drop your links and portfolios below, and we'll be happy to have you on the show. Outside of that, we do have a 3-hour show limit, just to keep the show a little bit more palatable to watch back. Like I always say, one could argue that a 3-hour show is a bit longer to watch, but compared to some of our earlier shows, where we used to do like 5-6 hours, a 3-hour show is definitely a little bit more watchable for sure. And again, we're one of the only weekly live shows here on Twitch every single Monday, so we do like to keep the show a little bit more of a higher quality, so we can bring you the best shows that we possibly can. So, outside of that, Music Mondays submissions are always free. They always have been free. They always will be free. But the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. Because again, that not only helps spread our message and grow our platform, but that pays respect to everybody else that does wait for all their submissions to be reacted to every single week here on the show. And again, you're not only supporting Music Mondays, but you gain access to a wonderful community of very, very talented creatives. So again, kind of a win-win. Outside of that, Patreon subscriber submissions will be played first every single week here on the show. So again, if you're subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon at any tier, you gain access to a whole bunch of features, including what's called the Music Mondays Fast Pass, which again, that allows you to, for the duration that you pledge to the Music Mondays Patreon, have all your submissions played first here on the show. So again, you're not only played during the height of viewership, but you're also played first, or one of the first submissions when people go and watch the show back, right? So you're one of the first people that they do see. So again, kind of an advantage there for sure. And again, huge shout out to all of our current Music Mondays Patrons. You guys are fucking wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And anybody else that has subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon in the past, you guys are amazing. Much, much love. Outside of that, the only thing that we do got to point out is that submissions do close about a couple hours before the show starts. So again, you have about 6 or so days to get your submissions in, because again, if you're watching the show live, submissions open for next week's episode tomorrow, October 14th you're watching the show anywhere else, submissions are already open for the next week's show. So definitely drop your links and portfolios below. But again, keep that in mind. And again, we do have about like 6.5 or so days to get your submissions in. So just keep that in mind, my friends. And a good rule of thumb is that if the show is live, submissions are definitely closed, right? Because again, if you get a late submission in and somebody's been waiting for their submission to be reacted to and you cut above them, it becomes like a little bit more like a gray area, right? So it's one of those things that it's much easier if we just close submissions, right? So it's one of those things. But again, outside of that, if you have any other questions, we do have a how to submit to the Music Mondays podcast YouTube guide on our channel where I kind of dive into the show in a little bit more detail, and I kind of really explain the process of the Music Mondays podcast, how it came to be, why we take submissions on Twitter and things like that, right? So again, definitely go check that out if you're interested and you have any other questions. So let's see here. Let's see how many Patrons we do have tonight, and then we'll dive into the rest of the community submissions. So I believe we only have one Patreon for tonight, on October 13th, and I think we're going to kick it off with the homie Jordan, and then we're going to dive into the rest of the community submissions, so I'm down. So Jordan, a multi-genre talented artist and producer, has come through with a unreleased track, The Dizziness of Freedom. Now, again, Jordan's hot off their recent summer project, Not Now I'm Busy, and they've been diving into a lot more singles and smaller projects and things like that to close out the end of the year. So I'm definitely excited to see what Jordan is up to. So let's go pop this open a new tab. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. So 5 hours ago, brand new. Prologue Chapter 1. This is their next project as well. So a little bit of a preview there, you know. But let's see. So Jordan, The Dizziness of Freedom. Let's go.
Some good advice, keep on going, let yourself grow. Sometimes I forget, close my eyes, I can hear an echo. Hardly have the words, always have the time, never knew how. So I started asking why, if you feel I took too long to meet now, I'm losing track of time. So far, it's worked every time, at first I'm just fine. But now, what have we learned from my past work? Feels like I don't have the self-control to consider what comes after. I just wanted my day to go faster, took the easy route, not quite the road less traveled. I was thinking about was what I currently have to. Why am I drinking now like I certainly have to? The way I am stuck on me just like a tattoo. Heavy as the hand holding more than it has to. Deadly as the man who knows what to adapt to. First I know it's my fault, I just needed time off for my benefit. Wouldn't be my life if I found myself ahead of it. Make room, let's address the elephant. I can't help myself, I spin and find this dread again. Dizziness, adrenaline. Heard some good advice, keep on going, let yourself go. Close my eyes, I can hear an echo. Deadly as the man who knows what to adapt to. Heard some good advice, keep on going, let yourself go. Close my eyes, I can hear an echo. But now, what have we learned from my past work? Now it's my fault.
Wow. Instrumental is very interesting.
It's my fault. So now it's my fault. Deadly is the man who knows what to adapt to. So now it's my fault. So now it's my fault. I just need. But now, what have we learned from my past work? It's my fault.
Very interesting. This one's one of the more, I would say unconventional, but also like very standard out of the recent ones that we've reacted to, right? So, wow, this one's got a lot to it. I feel like this one, you could kind of like look at it in a few different ways, and it's one of the ones where you're gonna need a few listens to really like understand what Jordan's saying and really like, yeah, kind of take in and soak in the lyricism here, right? So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So, we're gonna talk about Three things here. So we're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So, instrumental, obviously self-prod, but again, a very interesting choice out of Jordan, but not really though. It definitely sounds like a Jordan type beat. So I definitely like the idea of this one, and I could see why Jordan picked it for sure. So, instrumental choice, definitely very, very solid. Instrumental mix, obviously fantastic, has a good crispy lo-fi sort of feel, so nothing super clashy, too overbearing or anything like that. So I'm definitely a fan of the instrumental on this one. Mix wise for sure. Nothing that I would like ultimately change, right? Instrumental Shining Star. Hmm. Um, I almost want to say the drums because they kept up a really good bounce, and a really good rhythm, but also there's like the melody too. Um, Let me think. Structure's up there, but it is a relatively short instrumental as well. So that's the other part of it too. So, um, hmm. Um, I think I'm gonna go with drums here on this one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm gonna go with drums for sure. Just because the sound selection's really solid too, but also the patterns and like how it like kept up the pace for an otherwise like very chill instrumental. Yeah, let's go drums for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, fantastic. A very standard, crispy Jordan style mix. Nothing too crazy when it comes down to effects or anything like that. So I wouldn't switch anything here. It has that good raw lo-fi style, but it lets Jordan's voice kind of shine through here as well. So that's a big W. But yeah, no real gripes when I come to think about it, especially, nothing like super clashy, too overbearing, nothing I would like ultimately fix when it comes down to like quality or levels. I definitely think Jordan hit the nail on the head with this one. Vocal Shining Star, on the other hand. Hmm. Writing's up there. Writing and lyrics are definitely up there, but I think for this one, I'm gonna go flow and cadence and delivery. Jordan really slid on this, and they seemed really comfortable, especially with like how fast paced it was. I think flow and cadence and delivery is definitely up there for sure. So, hmm, instrumental solid, definitely drums. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Um, let's talk theme. So aesthetics. Um, Obviously an unreleased cover, right? So definitely not going to be the final here, but it's got one of those ones where you kind of look at it and it's like you start to see a little bit more and more and more the longer you look at it, right? So it has one of those effects to it, but the color palette's solid, and again for an unreleased, definitely out there. But the official cover art will be definitely to be decided for sure. But the overall theme, the Disney is of freedom. So, mm, um, realistically, like I said at the start, this is one of those ones where you're gonna need a few listens to really like understand what Jordan's saying, but also like to really like carve out the images in your mind that you kind of need to understand this, right? But also it is a very like deep combination of like what Jordan's feeling as opposed to like what the actual song is about, right? And again, this is unreleased, so it's one of those things where when the full project is out, you'll kind of have like a deeper scope of things. But for right now, it's one of those ones where I can see it being a hidden gem, and like you spin it back a few times, and you really, really start to enjoy it, and becomes one of your favorites. So it's one of those like lingering, aging ones for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Jordan. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Jordan on Spotify. They're only 8 followers away from 100. And of course, make sure you go follow Jordan on Twitter. They are 10 followers away from 430. So make sure you go show them some love in the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists and channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. That does conclude all of our Music Mondays Patreons for the night. So again, huge shout out to all of our Music Mondays Patreons, past and present. You guys are fucking wonderful. Thank you, my friends. Let's see. So, let's start up at the top per usual and go down for the rest of our community submissions. So up next, we got the homie Sam's Raps, a very, very talented hip hop artist. came through with a track titled Gang Violence. Another one from Sauce Gang's recent project, Refractions Through the Molotov, featuring the homie Paulo, Uggy, and Sam's Raps, prod by Uggy. I'm down. So we reacted to one track off of this project so far last week, but we have the second Sam's Rap track right here. So like I said last week, I think let's see, Sam's Raps is on Gang Violence and Sam's Raps is on War Paint. So we reacted to War Paint, so this is the other feature that they're on. I'm down. All right, let's get into it. Sauce Gang, Sam's Raps, and Gang Violence. Let's go. Holy shit. Beat is fucking crazy. Oh shit. Damn. Wow. What a powerful track. And, you know, both of the tracks that Sam's Raps is a part of here on this project have been very, like, what's the word? It's very, like, not emotional in, like, a sad way or anything like that, but it's very, like, meaningful and, like, very powerful. You know, it feels very emotional. Like everybody, like, really means what they're saying here, right? And it almost has, like, a deeper meaning than like, what's on the surface. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So we're going to talk about three things here. We're going to talk about the instrumental. We're going to talk about vocals. And we're going to talk about the overall theme of gang violence. So instrumental, brought by Uggy. Fantastic. It has that good classic, you know, boom bap-esque, lo-fi-esque sort of flavor to it. But again, with a more modern kind of flavor to it, right? So I like the choice for these guys. And the mix is fantastic. And again, like I always say, for Sauce Gang and anybody really involved with them, right, especially Sam's Raps, their mix is always fantastic when it comes down to instrumentals, when it comes down to vocals, pretty much everything, right? So definitely no gripes here when it comes down to the instrumental mix. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing, or anything that I would like ultimately switch up here on this one at all. And again, not really a shocker, but something you always want to point out for anybody new here, right? So if you're unfamiliar with Sauce Gang or Sam's Raps, their mix is always on point. So instrumental mix up there. Instrumental Shining Star. Um. Drums are up there. You could definitely argue structure on this one too. But the melody's pretty crazy too. The melody has that good, like, heavy, gritty sound to it. I think we're gonna go melody here. I think the melodies on this one really kind of shape the attitude of this song for sure. So let's go melodies, but I think structure and drums are a close second, but I like the melodies on this one. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix again across the board, fantastic. I never have any gripes with Sauce Gang or Sam's Raps vocals at all. And again, from verse to verse or kind of hook to verse or no matter the style, I find that their mix quality wise is always on point. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Everybody's levels is solid. I love how each verse kind of like transitions nicely. So nothing I would like ultimately gripe over at all. And again, like I said before, not really a shocker to me, but something you always want to point out for anybody new here. So again, a very consistent vocal and instrumental mix. Vocal shining star. Hook is crazy. Writing across the board is crazy. But I think the thing that took the cake here for me was probably everybody's flow and cadence and delivery. It was a very serious, like, mean flow and cadence and delivery. Not like mean, but it had a lot of attitude and, like, spunk to it, right? So I'm going to go flow and cadence and delivery on this. Everybody really kind of, like, gave their best. And you could really tell, you know? So let's go flow and cadence and delivery on this one. So instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics, Refractions Through the Molotov. This is track 6 out of 8. And again, we spoke a little bit about this cover last week, but like I said, it has that good like magazine cutout like sort of vibe, you know, almost collage like. But it almost has this like anti-war, anti-establishment kind of vibe to it as well. Now that I'm looking at it again, and especially with a lot of the songs that Sam's Raps is involved in, it's a little bit more serious subject matter, right? So aesthetics definitely on point. It definitely has a good like anti-establishment feel to it, like kind of like one of those posters you'd see like walking in like any random city and you just see it like on a pole, you know, kind of like anti Uncle Sam kind of shit. But for a full length project, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Overall theme, gang violence. I mean, other than the self-explanatory theme, right? I feel like everybody kind of gave their POV on not only violence but violence in like sub communities and violence around the world, and it was a big chunk of a lot of that, and I feel like they all did a really good job, kind of like keeping it light, but also keeping it very like passionate and very honest, right? So it was one of those tracks where I could see people liking it for multiple reasons, whether it be the meaning, the lyrics, or even just the fact that it sounds insane, right? So, well done. Well done, my friends. Huge shout out to homie Sam's Raps and Sauce Gang. Make sure you go follow them all on Spotify. And of course, make sure you go follow Sam's Raps on Twitter. They are approaching 1.2K on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. All right. Let's see here. So we left off with homie Sam's Raps. Up next is a actually first-time submitting artist by the name of Lord Sionis. They submitted a track titled April Showers. I sent an email, but I'm going to post a link to my latest music video. We got you, my friend. We got you. We usually check emails about a couple times a week. We try to get back to everybody when it comes down to emails. But like I said, a first-time submitting artist by the name of Lord Sionis. April Showers music video link in bio. Okay. Yeah, first time submitting artist. So again, we don't know what to expect. So we're gonna go in blind and kind of see what we got here. Lord Sionis, April Showers. This is the April Shower music video. The videography is done by a talented friend of mine, Sean. Videographer and businessman who founded 13 Floors Video Production. The song itself recorded September 23. Wow. Good detailed background here. Damn, lots of love in here. Lots of love. Okay. See the comments got. Love in the comments. Perfect. Excellent. All right, I'm down. Let's get into it. Sionis, Lord Sionis, April Showers, official music video, full volume. Let's go 720 just because we're streaming. Let's go.
April showers and that purple rain wash away all my shame. John Doe, no past and no name, no soul, no sight and no pain. I'm feeling numb, Novocaine. Run smoke, my lungs fell with flame. Fossil fuel, I'm smoking propane. Got a powder my nose, no cocaine. The silence captivating, it captivates me, holds me hostage and I can't break free. Thoughts changing, the wishing well, wish for change please. Never changing, never changing. Sinking ship, SOS Mayday. So tired of myself, should be more like AJ. But I am who I am at the end of the day. But the phantoms, they always gon' follow me. I see the shadows and they running past me. I go to sleep and they come and start whispering. Is it a dream or is this my reality? Okay, all in my brain. No remedy, let me tell you all I need is April showers and that purple rain wash away all my shame. John Doe, no past and no name, no soul, no sight and no pain. I'm feeling numb, Novocaine. Run smoke, my lungs fell with flame. Fossil fuel, I'm smoking propane. Got a powder my nose, no cocaine.
Written by Sean Stanley. Friday Eerie Skies. Fantastic actually. Like like really, really fantastic. It was the whole package really. The video was great. The hook is great. The writing's great. I mean, especially for a first time submitting artist, right? We don't really know what to expect, so sometimes we like to keep it a little bit more like open minded, obviously, right? But wow. Wow, 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 wow. It has a really good like sad rap sort of feel to it as well, but not like completely just sad rap. It has a little bit more of like an alternative sort of vibe, right? So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it because there's definitely a few things to kind of dive into here. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the official music video for April Showers. So instrumental. I love the choice, truthfully, because I feel like Sinus really knew what they wanted to make when it came down to this instrumental. They probably heard it and they were like, "Oh yeah," It's just one of those ones where certain artists like, you know, you just instantly hear a verse or a melody or a cadence and you're like, "Okay, yeah, no, I can smash that." So I like the choice a lot. But the mix is great. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Drums knock really hard, but not too hard. Vocals sound good. Everything kind of sits on the instrumental really well. Nothing that I would like ultimately switch up in terms of like quality and levels, right? Even the sound selection on the instrumentals is like really, really solid. So, yeah, no real gripes with the instrumental mix at all. Um, Instrumental Shining Star, on the other hand, huh? Melody's definitely up there. Drums are up there. Vocals are up there. I mean, it's a very like almost simple kind of instrumental, but at the same time, everything really, kind of hits purpose, like really like purposely and perfectly. But also, it has like a good purpose as well, right? So, um, mm, I kind of want to say drums, but at the end of the day, I think the melody's really bringing like a lot of the good energy and a lot of the real emotion that this song kind of was going for. So I think we're gonna go melody for this one. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix definitely solid. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Vocals sit nice on the instrumental. Drums definitely cut through nicely, but as far as like the vocals themselves, I like how Cyanus kept in a lot of their emotion when it came down to their vocals, but it wasn't like completely raw and unmixed. It has a really, really good like punch and flavor to it, but it's still leaving in like a lot of the emotion, right? So yeah, yeah, I definitely feel like the vocal mix was on point, especially for this style. Um, Vocal Shining Star, on the other hand. Mm, hmm. I really like the hook. The hook is very catchy, and it kind of like one of those hooks that you can easily get stuck in your head, for sure. But the writing in general is very honest and very like relatable to most people, right? Especially like the April showers concept. Mm, writing and lyrics are up there, but let's go hook. I feel like the hook is pretty crazy on this. The hook definitely deserves some respect for sure. So let's go with the hook. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the hook. Let's talk about the official music video for April Showers. So this is one of those very like top tier, like high quality underground music videos, right? Because like there's always like levels to this shit, right? There's always like that iPhone, Sony Vegas edit, and then there's like the professional edits, and then there's something with like a little bit more of a budget. But this one kind of like hit kind of like in between the line, and it really gave like a little bit of everything, right? It's not like too over the top and like too high quality, but also like it has enough edits and enough good shots that make it like aesthetically pleasing, but also like sets the real good mood for like a good like April spring kind of feel, right? Especially with it being dropped of March of this year. I feel like this was perfect timing. Perfect timing, especially like with the weather and like the seasons changing and winter coming to an end. I feel like they fucking nailed it when it comes down to that for sure. Um, I love a lot of the editing, like I said, because it's not too over the top. Like it's not doing too much, but it has like a lot of really good transitions, a lot of good small effects, and the quality's great, right? But I think the shining star here, interestingly enough, although the editing is up there, I think the shining star is probably the locations. The locations are pretty fucking crazy. Like it was finally curated, right? Because a lot of these woods kind of like open field shots are great. Middle of the woods is great. And then they like switch back to like the studio shots too, which I feel like that was a good like 50-50, right? Because like you have plenty of like IRL outdoor shots, and then you have like the inside of the studio shots here, right? And then like a lot of the solo shots that kind of kicked off the video. This was solid too. So I think location, man, I think the locations really kind of like made this video and really was gonna like make or break it, because I just feel like the locations like really fit super well for like the overall feeling of this song for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Lord Sinus. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go sub to their YouTube channel. They're only 4 subs now that Music Mondays has subscribed to them, away from 10. So make sure you go show them some love on the tube, man. And of course, make sure you go follow Lord Sinus on Twitter. They're only 10 followers away from 150. Make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 tabs per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all the good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Well done. Well done. That was a crazy first time submission, man. I won't lie. That was definitely fucking crazy. Let's see here. So we left off with the homie Lord Sinus. Up next is the homie 3, the real, aka Ethereal, aka 3, as came through with a lyric video for the track titled Switch. Now, 3, a very talented hip hop, multi-genre artist, has been on a roll recently, especially when it comes down to Music Mondays. But their caption, a little late to the punch this week, but this is the second track from Maury Vivi. Following up, Anubis, this record switches a declaration of intent and a roar of defiance so the world tells people to be realistic and spin the hamster wheel. Be realistic and spin the hamster wheel. I like that wording here. I like that wording a lot. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, boom, full volume, go a little 720. Well, let's see here. We got Ghost and TDG in the chat. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. Let's fucking get it, baby. Hope you're all well. Another Monday in the books, my friends. 3's the goat. Yeah, no, super fire. Absolutely super talented. This guy gave some like insane constructive fucking criticism here. Interesting. Those comments are always good though. Watch another animated video out of the park. Some sneaky reference places. No. So this came out in January of this year. Switch official lyric video by the homie 3. Let's go. Huh.
Like oral hygienist, they call me a monster, a Martian, a menace. I bought me a bottle, I'm boasting with brethren. A team of apostles is posted the penance. Was on that McDonald's, the brokest at henchman, till I flipped all my sorrow to flows like a gymnast. I gotta be honest, I often choose vengeance. By this time tomorrow, I'm told we're ascending. Don't know what's ahead me, this load been so heavy. My soul has been wrestling with demons. Lord help me to lift up this levy. Just keep my hands steady. They sneaking, I'm ready. On serpents, I'm stepping. I lumen illusions. I'm phosphorus shooting. A cupid who's nuking. My accomplice is booted.
Jesus.
Talking nonsense, you foolish. This process is proven. Made a god from a human. They don't wanna see me win. They rather see me in the pen. Locked up 36. That's why I tell them eat shit. Eat shit. They don't wanna see me win. Rather see some slick wrists. You can tell them when they switch. They can all eat shit. Eat shit.
Huh. Interesting, man. Very interesting. I like the lyric video.
369 Provisions.
Hmm. Yeah, the lyric video is very like it's interesting. I haven't seen one of these types of lyric videos in a long time, right? Because it just has like the fade in back and forth, but also it's like very well edited, and the lyrics are like um bottom middle, so it's not like too distracting from the actual like video itself, right? Um, wow, wow, wow. Okay, okay. All right, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So, we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals. And we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Switch. So, instrumental mix, really solid, to be honest with you. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing at all. I love the sound selection. I love the drum selection specifically. Patterns are great. Yeah, no real gripes with the instrumental mix whatsoever. Melodies were good. Structure was awesome. Nothing that I would like ultimately switch up. No way. No way. Yeah, nothing like I said that really kind of bothered me quality or like levels wise or anything like that, right? So, instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star, probably. I was gonna say drums just there, but I think the melody might be up there too. Like I said, the structure's pretty underrated. Um, mm, the melody's very catchy. It's very liable to get that like stuck in your head for sure. Melody's definitely one of those ones that like, you know, it totally just gets caught in your head. Let's go melody on this one, just because it's still playing in my head. Let's go melody for sure. So, instrumental solid, definitely a melody. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, again, really solid. We've reacted to a lot of 3 stuff at this point. I think like 4 to 5 tracks, and almost all of the tracks, if not every single one of them, have had a really solid vocal mix. Nice and crisp, clean, straight to the point. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Drums definitely cut through nicely. Everything else definitely cuts through nicely as well. Nothing that really kind of like stuck out to me that needed to be changed or anything like that. Same with the instrumental, right? So, vocal mix very much on point for this style for sure. Um, Vocal shining star, on the other hand, probably the writing and lyrics. Some of the verses here were pretty fucking crazy. I could see how the hook would be a little bit like off-putting to certain people, like that guy said in the comments. But again, that's kind of more of like a preference thing, right? Because some people enjoy hooks like this, especially for like get up and go, gym, clean the crib kind of tracks, right? Some people like the more aggressive sort of style. So, I think for that reason too, I think writing lyrics and delivery, um, across the board is really solid. So let's go writing and lyrics on this one, 100%. Instrumental solid. Um, Definitely the melody. Vocal solid. Definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme in the official lyric video. So realistically, 3 kind of broke it down here pretty well. The record switches a declaration of intent and a roar of defiance at a world that tells people to be realistic and spin the hamster wheel, which I mean, I'm a big subscriber to as well, right? I mean, people kind of telling you that like you can't do something, or like you tell somebody you have an idea, or be realistic, or you can't do that, or and it's not even really like the naysayers. It's like it's not even like they're intentionally trying to be negative, right? But it always comes from people that don't follow their own dreams, right? And they get so wrapped up in like, the 9 to 5 working man kind of lifestyle. And then instead of going home to like work on their side project or their real passion, they kind of go home and, fuck it off. They go play video games. They go, go out to parties, and they go get drunk, and they go do whatever else, right? Because everybody has to work a regular job, but it's up to you to kind of push your dreams after you get done working. So, it's a very interesting concept for sure, right? And it's just like, that phrase of like, be realistic is one of the most stupid things, people kind of spit out of their mouth, and it's just not a good way to be, man. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's usually coming from somebody who's just negative, or like hasn't chased their own dreams enough, right? So I think that sort of thing is very important to remember, because there's always going to be naysayers and things like that, but there's always people that are like close to you that are like, be realistic, like blah 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 blah. That's not possible, or you can't do that, or just because they think it's unobtainable for them, they want it to be unobtainable for you, right? So they can like bring you down to their level. Um, but you need people around you that are going to like lift you up, right, and put you on that pedestal, and not like a dick riding, like kind of like sort of like over the top pedestal, but it's like you're supposed to pour, like you're supposed to pour that good energy into the people around you, right? So I think that's like it's a very important thing, man. Like I could talk about this concept for hours, but definitely an important topic here for sure. And I think 3 kind of broke it down really nicely here, and like what it means to them, and kind of like how that whole topic really affected them, right? But shining star here for the lyric video. Probably the editing. I like the animations. It's small, but it's very subtle, but it doesn't take away from like the actual lyric video, right? The zoom in, zoom out, the smoke in the background. There's like that ghost in like the top left that come through. So there's a lot of motion, but it doesn't take away from the official lyric video, right? So, well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to Homie 3. Make sure you go sub to their YouTube channel, man. They're only 2 subs away from 370. Now that Music Money has subscribed to their YouTube channel. So make sure you go show them some love in the tube. And of course, make sure you go follow 3 on Twitter. They're only 10 followers away from 370, so make sure you go show them some love in the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists and the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. W night so far, man. We are cranking through. W fucking night. Let's see here. So, we left off with the Homie 3. Up next is the Homie TDG, a very talented hip-hop artist. We haven't heard from him in a couple weeks, actually, and they came through with Coworker Music. Brought by me. I guess you can't make beats at work. Fuck you, Carol. Fuck Carol. We don't fuck with Carol around here. And Earl from accounting. I know you're stealing my yogurt. Earl from accounting. Imagine Earl really is just fucking snagging the yogurt every day, bro. That'd be crazy. All right, TDG's got Coworker Music here. I'm down. Let's see what we got. I'll just open a new tab. This is a quick little pause Rooney here. October 3rd of 2025, so quite literally 10 days old. This is brand spanking new, hot off the press. Let's get into it. TDG Coworker Music. God damn it, Carol. Beat is cold. I'll be on Spotify soon. Literally. I feel like everybody goes through that, bro. Everybody fucking goes through that. Phil Grave did his thing on this. No, I agree. This is one of the most well put together TDG songs and some recent memory for sure. I mean, realistically, TDG has had a really solid 2025, right? Between collaborations, the singles, even some music videos and things like that. They've really kind of like upped the quality in all aspects. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Coworker music. Obviously, very obvious theme, but we're still gonna talk about it. Instrumental, Prod TDG, fantastic. You know, TDG's one hell of a vocalist, but they're also a fantastic producer as well. A really, really solid fucking producer. That's one thing you can always count on TDG for as well. But the mix is great. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing I would like really tweak out about on this, especially in terms of levels and quality and things like that. Nothing that really kind of rubs me the wrong way or anything like that. I love the sounds. It's very unique, and it has a lot of sounds that people aren't used to, but also keeps the same format that people are used to, right? So that's why I say the sound selection on it's fantastic. So instrumental mix, definitely solid. Instrumental Shining Star. You know, drums and melody are up there. I could definitely see drums and melody being up there. But I will say, I think an underrated aspect of this is probably the structure. I won't lie to you, Chief. It's got to be the structure for sure. It's got to be the fucking structure. 100%. Definitely. definitely. Like I said, melody and drums are up there, but the structure is very underrated. So let's go structure. Instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. A vocal mix, a very standard TDG vocal mix, but as far as like quality and levels go, nothing I would like ultimately change on this one. Really, really solid in terms of like a TDG style mix, right? So again, nothing super clashy, too overbearing or anything like that. Thought the vocals sounded really good on the instrumental. Drums cut through nicely, so nothing wrong with the engineering here, in my opinion. Um, Vocal shining star. I think flow and cadence and delivery is up for debate for sure. Um, but I think I'm gonna have to go writing and lyrics on this one. Very interesting writing, but also very like relatable writing as well. So let's go writing and lyrics on this for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Vocal solid, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. I love this cover, especially for like a track titled "Coworker Music," man. TDG's all dressed up in a suit. You have like the coworkers in the background, almost like an office job sort of vibe, right? You got TDG in the bottom middle. Aesthetics definitely on point. 100% definitely on point for sure, especially for a single, right? Overall theme, relatively obvious theme, right? Of coworker music. That became a meme within the last like few years, right? Of coworker music and the concept of coworker music, and I think TDG did a good job, kind of like memeing on it, but also making a serious track out of it, right? Because even like with their description, I guess you can't make beats at work. Fuck you, girl, and Earl from accounting. I know you're stealing my yogurt. Like stuff like that is hilarious because it's a very serious song still, but the topic isn't serious, right? So that's what being an artist is all about: is taking like somewhat simple topics and kind of breaking them down in a way where you can show off your artistic ability, right? And sometimes less is more, right? So if you have a very simple topic to speak about, sometimes artists really dive in, and that's where they start using their imagination and their true skill set. You know what I mean? So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge, huge shout out to homie TDG. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure you go sub to TDG on Spotify, or make sure you go follow them on Spotify. I mean, and of course, make sure you go follow TDG on Twitter as well. They're only 4 follows away from 160, so make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, all on a good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Get it, babe. Well done. Well done. W fucking night, my friends. All right, so per usual, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to dive into the rest of our community submissions. So don't you go anywhere. I'm going to need you to get up, go walk the dog, go for a smoke break, go take a quick bathroom break, maybe go grab a snack. And like I said, when we return, we're going to dive into the rest of our community submissions, and we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live with the Music Mondays podcast, episode 247. Hope you had a good break. Hope you're chilling, but let's get back into these community reviews. So we left off with the homie TDG. Up next is the homie Braden, a multi-genre talented artist, has came through with the last track off of their recent project. You feeling it? Final track 7 to 7 of the project. 2 new singles coming out in 3 days too. Shit. So 2 new singles out right now by the homie Braden as of this show. So let's see here. We've reacted to pretty much everything on this recent project from Braden. So let's cap it off and let's get the last one in. Obviously got some lyrics and description as well. Like I said, this is from their recent project. More music. Let's see. Yep. Brian Stewie, Beyblade was last week, and this week we have She Feeling It. I'm down. Let's get into it.
Bitch, I get a bag and then I'm flipping it. Syrup in my soda, but you know that I am sipping it. I've been here with Shawty, heard my songs, now she feeling it. She said I'm going crazy, Shawty said that I was killing it. Bitch, I go too stupid. People see my movements and they acting so clueless. They gon' see me moving so crazy, talking who this. When I got the chopper, treat that shit like there's a nuisance. And I walk out the crib with my stick out. I'm feeling so damn cocky, I might pop out with my dick out. If you tryna smoke with me or vibe, then you'll get kicked out. She tried to use me for my money, she got on my big house. Got Ed Hardy on my hat, Empire jeans, bitch. How you moving with a purpose but no fucking meaning? Shawty said that she tapped in with me, but that ain't me shit. I've been walking around the building on some fucking Dean shit.
Whoa, yeah, got your bitch, she feeling me. Yeah, she got my energy. We can make a mini me. I ain't talking like it's square, but we show some symmetry. Oops, I mean synergy. Got your bitch, she on her knees like, huh. Bitch, I'm staying teed, you teed up. Like I'm Ken, I'm off of the meter. Got a bad bitch, she named Tina. She my bitch now like I'm Peter. In a Benz, you in a Kia. Getting angry, baby Kia. Feel like Cardi, I can't see her. But she know I wish I see her.
Bitch, I get a bag and then I'm flipping it. Syrup in my soda, but you know that I am sipping it. I've been here with Shawty, heard my songs, now she feeling it. She said I'm going crazy, Shawty said that I was killing it. Bitch, I go too stupid. People see my movements and they acting so clueless. They gon' see me moving so crazy, talking who this. When I got the chopper, treat that shit like there's a nuisance.
Okay.
I be in the kitchen like I'm Bill Nye, cooking till I go die. Every day I'm kicking it with the brothers, same guys. Say hi, seeing your success with the same eyes. Say bye, seeing my success since I was 9. Okay, I'm done.
You know, I really like them as a duo. I like these two together a lot, especially on these like very like almost very like cold shoulder attitude kind of style and instrumental, right? I definitely think this is a good duo for sure. But let's talk about it, man. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. Especially for the last track of this project, I thought that was great. But we're gonna talk about 3 things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So, instrumental. I love the choice because again, Braden's not really afraid of any instrumental, right? They've reacted to, you know, or we've reacted to so many different types of instrumental from Braden that it's just like, you know, there isn't any type of instrumental that they won't hop on or make work for them, right? So I love the choice, but instrumental makes it solid. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing, or anything that I would like ultimately switch up on this one at all. Again, they both sound solid on it. Verses transition nicely, drums cut through nicely. Both of their vocals sound good on top of it. So nothing I would like ultimately change on this. No way, definitely not. So instrumental makes solid. Instrumental shining star. You know, drums are up there. But I think on this one, I'm going to go with structure. I think the structure, once again, really gave them like a nice canvas to kind of play around with, and they both kind of use it to their advantage. I'm going to go with structure on this one. I'm not going to lie to you, Chief. Definitely structure, for sure. So, instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix for both of them, absolutely fantastic. And again, their verses transitioned really nicely, especially with the hook. And again, nothing super clashy to overbearing or anything that I would like ultimately switch up on. Drums cut through nicely. Both of their verses sound nice on the instrumental. Levels were good. Quality was good. Has that good like in your face sort of mix, but it's not too raw or like too overbearing, right? But vocal mix definitely right where it needs to be, 100%. Vocal shining star. I really like the writing from both of them. Lots of really clever bars in there, but also very like relatable bars too. Um, but I think what took the cake for both of them was flow and cadence and delivery. They really fucking slid on this, 100%. It was very clean, very very clean. So let's go flow and cadence and delivery on this one. But writing and lyrics are definitely a close second for sure. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics. Obviously I spoke about this cover before, but again, just to say a few more words. Again, it's one of those covers where, sometimes if you're not feeling art or you have like a different direction for a certain project, the IRL covers really do well. And this is one of those ones that really fits the bill. Simple, straight to the point, but definitely catches your eye, right? So aesthetics definitely on point. I definitely like the choice from Braden for sure. And they always have like a different aesthetic when it comes down to their musical journey, right? They're always switching up their aesthetics, so I think that's always a W as well. But aesthetics on point. Overall theme, she feeling it. Obviously like it's in relation to women and like how they kind of come in and out of your life depending on the circumstances and things like that. I feel like they both kind of touched on that topic like really well. But also definitely one of those like headstrong, like fuck it, I'm gonna keep going no matter what sort of tracks. But also is a good showcase of what Braden and Weary could do on a track, right? I want to see more of this duo for sure. I feel like this is a great duo. So well done, my friends. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Braden. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Braden on SoundCloud, by the way. They're only 5 followers away from 390. And of course, make sure you go follow Braden on Twitter as well. They're only 7 followers away from 30. So make sure you go show them some love on the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. So, we left off with the homie Braden. Up next is the homie Offspring Mysterious, a multi-talented producer, engineer, editor, designer, videographer, writer, photographer, all the above. Came through with a brand new YouTube edit. Walking Onslaught's Digital Art Adventures episode. What are we on? Episode. Let's pop it on a new tab here. What do we got? So we're on episode 4, Home Alone, and Offspring's description. Come in. All right, I'm down. All right, let's go 720 full volume. Let's get into it. Walking Onslaught's Digital Art Adventures episode 4, Home Alone. I'll take his shots here. That one's crazy. That one is so crazy. The toaster. That one's creative as fuck. That one is crazy. The concept of the minis is pretty crazy, I won't lie. Like everything being miniature. Like that one's crazy.
It's time now for a new change to come. You've grown up and your new life has begun. To go where you will go, to see what you will see, to find what you will be, for it's time for you to fulfill your destiny.
Wow. Oh, not that chick. The one on the side is crazy. That one's sick. Interesting. Very interesting. There's a few things I really like about this one. Quite a few things actually. But This one contains a very obvious shining star here for me, 100%. These digital art adventures are not only a great concept, right, and they're fun, but I think the one that kind of, this is actually a perfect shot here. The one point about this that really like kind of intrigued me was Offspring kind of using their imagination for like miniature shots and like using like this like kitchen table shot here or like kitchen counter shot was very creative, right? Very, very creative. And it just kind of goes throughout, right? I mean, the toaster shot again, another great concept of like the miniature kind of scenes that you could create. I would have never thought about this. I mean, I probably would have eventually, but the fact that Offspring was like, nah, let's do it like this was super, super clever. So Shining Star here, definitely a lot of the miniature shots that Offspring did. 100%. I like this one a lot. With that said, huge shout out to Offspring Series. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. Make sure to go sub to their YouTube channel, by the way. They're only 8 subs away from 250. And of course, make sure you go follow Offspring Series on Twitter. They're only 11 followers away from 820. So make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers, so we upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel, so make sure you go show these artists and the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. You already have. Thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. All right, so up next would be the homie Jordan, but Jordan is a Music Mondays Patreon, and we've already reacted to Jordan earlier in the show, so make sure you go show their submission some love at the beginning of episode 247. Following Jordan, up next is the homie Ghost, a multi-genre talented producer, has been sending in some crazy unreleased instrumentals and collaborations and things of that nature, but we do have another unreleased Ghost instrumental here for our enjoyment. So let's pop this over to a new tab. Let's see what we got here. 145 BPM beat. Okay, I'm down. Let's get into it. Unreleased Ghost, 145 BPM. Let's go. Must be Ghost produced. Okay. The kick is so nice. Oh shit. Love the structure. Wow. This is great. Wow. Structure is beautiful. Jesus. Damn. Damn. That was crazy. That was one of my favorites in quite some time. I like this one a lot. I feel like Ghost hit like all the check boxes here on this one for sure. Um, at least in my opinion, right? But um, wow. Okay, so obviously no vocals here, so we're gonna talk about two things. We're talking about the instrumental, and we're talking about the overall theme of this instrumental. So, um, let's talk mix. Fantastic, especially the drums and the sound selection on the drums. Everything is mixed to a fucking T. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing, or anything that I would like ultimately change. Um, Literally 99% of Ghost music is really, really well mixed. Not really a shocker to me, but something I always want to point out to anybody new here watching the show back or anything like that, right? But again, not really a shocker. Very, very consistent mix out of Ghost, but this one kind of like nailed kind of like every part, right? Everything hits really nicely. Levels are good, quality's good. Like I said, sound selection's good. Nothing that I would like really gripe about on this one, to be real with you. Definitely not. Especially mix wise, right? Instrumental Shining Star. This one's gonna be tough. Melodies are fucking crazy. Drums are fucking crazy. But the structure is really crazy too. Like throughout the whole track, the structure just kept getting better and better and better. And it was really about like the small stuff, right? Like some of the counter melodies coming in and out, some of the drums coming in and out. Like it was a lot of the small stuff that kept this very fresh but very consistent. So this is tough, man. All in all, even though the melodies and the drums are fantastic, I think the structure was really well thought out here, and you can tell it was really well thought out. That's what I really like about it. You know, you could tell that Ghost actually like took some time on this and was like, okay, like how can this be fucking sick as shit? Like how can this come out really insane? And sometimes it just comes from inside you, right? Sometimes it just comes from the heart, and you start cooking, and sometimes you'll just end up with fucking something crazy, like it really does happen like that a lot. But point is, for this one, I think we're gonna go structure 100% just because the structure alone for the instrumental is just such a ride. So let's go structure on here for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely a structure. Let's talk theme. Obviously unreleased instrumental, but it does have a good like future super, almost like alternative digital trap sort of style, right? And you could see a few different styles on this, but it's one of those instrumentals that is so well done that it stands on its own 2 feet alone. You know what I mean? Like it really, really stands on its own 2 feet alone. So this could be a solo instrumental release, even if nobody wanted to hop onto it. That's how really well done it is. You know what I mean? So, well done, my friend. Well done. I spent 20 minutes on just the structure. You can tell because it came out so fucking sick. Like you can really tell that you took your time on that because it came out awesome. Normally max 10 minutes. Right. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. But yeah, no, super well done. Super well done. With that said, huge shout out to Homie Ghost. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Ghost on Twitter, by the way. Ghost is literally 5 followers away from 560. That's a W milestone, so go show Ghost some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you. Thanks, you're very welcome, my friend. You're very welcome. Thank you for your submission. Oh, 560 almost? 560 on the way for the homie Ghost, my friends. Make sure you go follow Ghost on Twitter, by the way. 560. Last but certainly not least, up next is the homie Black Brains, a.k.a. Slug Boys ENT. Came through with another collab here titled, I believe, Powder Room. Now, again, a very, very talented producer, Black Brains, has been fucking killing it when it comes down to the Music Mondays podcast and a lot of their recent releases, right? So, this week we have a collab with the homie Mesa and Diana. Okay. And the homie Black Brains. Okay. Now, this is titled Powder Room, October 5th, so literally less than like 10 days old. Brand new, Black Brains, Powder Room, let's go. Very sick, Ghost. Very sick.
Pray they start seething. The complaints, you can all keep it. Like Matt Hardy screaming.
What?
Scared straight, how high behind bars. Sticks for the tricks, hand out a good cause. Pain into power, turn scars into stars. Jelly jars full of jam, biscuits and applause. Hand them out, hand them in, they could never handle me. Throw my heart into art, that's paint and the easels. It's when you stop working, how you jump shot and free throw. Satan ambassador, fucking up your ego. I'm no advocate, definitely not average. Emerald tub, make the chandelier amethyst. Pockets full of cheese, so I made them into sandwiches. Italian loaf, gun and butter do damages. No damage do poses where the camera is. Red bottom, been teaching them what manners is. Camouflage, ammo and advantages. No questions asked, I tell them what the answer is.
The fuck? A little switch up here? Wow. Holy shit. A little bit of a switch up there. I like that. I like that. That was a really good, almost Cypher style of a collaboration, right? I feel like these three did a really good job and meshed pretty well, I won't lie. They definitely meshed pretty well. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're talking about three things here. We're talking about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Powder Room. So, instrumental, obviously prod by Black Brains. Fantastic. I love the sample. I love the drums. Has a good classical, boom bappy kind of vibe, but also very modern at the same time, like I always say. So it doesn't sound like out of place or anything like that. Instrumental mix definitely solid. Again, nothing super clashy to overbearing or anything that I would like ultimately change on this one, right? Especially with the sample in mind and how the drums came out. Nothing that I would like really tweak about on this one at all. Especially quality and levels wise. Vocals sound pretty good on it. Nothing I would switch up on this. Definitely not. Definitely not. So, instrumental mix, definitely solid. Instrumental Shining Star. You know, the samples are up there, but I kind of want to go with the drums here. The drums, again, keep up a good rhythm, a good pace, and a good bounce, right? So let's go with drums on this one, for sure. Instrumental solid, definitely drums. Let's talk vocals, vocal mix with Mesa and Diana. As far as quality and levels go, nothing super crazy that ultimately threw me off, right? This is the first time that we've heard Black Brains with these two artists, right? So, actually, I believe we've heard Mesa, but definitely not Diana. But as far as this one goes, nothing that I would, like, ultimately super change on this. They sound really, really good as far as the classical sort of instrumental goes. So, again, thinking back on it, quality level is definitely solid. Nothing I would, like, super, super tweak out about. Drums cut through nicely. Nothing super clashy to overbearing. So, vocal mix definitely up there. Vocal Shining Star. Definitely the writing. The writing for sure. There's a lot of creative writing here that I think if you weren't paying attention, you'd probably miss, right? So definitely the writing and lyrics on this one for sure. I feel like Mesa and Diana had a lot of clever bars on this for sure. So instrumental solid. Definitely the drums, vocal solid. Definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics, Powder Room. I love this one. It has a good like hardcover CD vinyl look. but it does have that like powder on the front, right? Because like for those of you that don't know, powder room kind of like being in like in between like a bathroom and a shower almost, right? So there is a bit of a difference there, but this one's simple but straight to the point. I love the look of it, and again, it has that like old vinyl kind of look, but also the more you look at it, the more detail you see. But all the text is at the top middle, right? Powder room top middle. All the artist names top mid. Um, Logo top right. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And I think like the cracked borders and things like that around it really like made this, gives that good like retro vintage feel. Good like 80s 90s feel, right? So aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, Powder Room. I wouldn't dig too deep for a theme on this one. This is one where I feel like you just gotta appreciate the artistic ability of these three and how they come together on an instrumental like this. You know what I mean? So well done, my friends. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Black Brains. Make sure you go follow them and crew on Spotify. And of course, make sure you go follow Black Brains on Twitter. They are approaching 1.8K on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's go. So that does it, my friends. That's all of our submissions for tonight for episode 247, a stack night per usual. Let's close it out. Let's give some shout outs. Let's show some love. Let's talk about what's coming over the course of the next week or so and what you can expect here at Music Mondays. So per usual, massive shout out to everybody that came through and chatted tonight. You guys are fucking wonderful. Thank you. Huge shout out to the homie TDG, the homie Ghost, and anybody else that lurked and chilled and came through and just want to come kick it and watch the show. We appreciate you, man. Even for just tuning in, we thank you. Massive shout out to everybody that submitted tonight. And massive shout out to all our Music Mondays Patreons. The homie Jordan, Ryuki, King Mark, Kruger, literally the homie Laveries, and everybody else that's subbed past and present over there on the Music Mondays Patreon. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you, my friends. Huge shout out to everybody that did submit tonight. Huge shout out to the homie Sam's Raps. Huge shout out to the homie Sinus, the homie 3, TDG, Braden, Offspring, Jordan, Ghost, and the homie Black Brains. Make sure you go show them some love per usual. Again, per always, massive shout out to all you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. We had a W fucking stream tonight. Much love. Not gonna lie, I don't know if that beat would be an underrated song or one of the favorites. It could be both. Yeah, it really could be both, Ghost. You're absolutely right. It really could be both. Because the instrumental is fucking crazy. I completely agree with you. But per usual, submissions will be open for next week's show, episode 248 tomorrow. So if you're watching this live, submissions open October 14th. If you're watching this anywhere else, submissions are already live. So make sure you go drop your links and portfolios below, per usual. And then, of course, you can stream all the Music Mondays podcast episodes on anchor.fm/allmusicmondays, or you can go stream them on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. Over 240 episodes are still available on all platforms. So definitely go check out the past Music Mondays podcast episodes, my friends, and definitely go share them with your friends. Per usual, make sure you follow Music Mondays on all your favorite social media, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you're at, we are at. So make sure you go follow us on your preferred social media and stay up to date with all of our latest fucking announcements. Per usual, we're going to be working on some album stuff and a lot of really good YouTube content when it comes down to Music Mondays. And then, of course, all of your regular scheduled programming will be staying the same when it comes down to weekly stuff. Podcast, SoundCloud Sunday, articles every Friday. Recruiting, all that good stuff is still going to be on the table. So, again, make sure you tune into the show every single week for more Music Mondays updates. And, of course, I stream 5-6 days a week. We actually got back into some speedrunning and getting back into some games here on the channel. So, again, make sure you tune in tomorrow and the rest of the week if you want to see what goes down and if you want to come kick it with the kid. Outside of that, per usual, make sure you follow, subscribe below. Everything linked below. All of our socials, all the good socials linked down below. Zomslay socials, all the Music Monday socials are linked in the description. And, of course, they're linked in the Twitch bio. So definitely go check those out and go show us some love on your preferred social media. And then, of course, like I always say, massive shout out one more time to everybody else that tuned in and showed love. Much love. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friends. Again, we'll be live tomorrow per usual for a regular stream at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll be live next week for episode 248 of the Music Mondays podcast. I love you all. Take care. Be safe. And we'll see you tomorrow and next week for another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. Peace, 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 blah, 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 blah.